So for this particular training video, you may want to gather a few shoes together so you can kind of go through some of the things that we talk about. So go to the back shoe room and get a New Balance 1540, a New Balance 840, a Brooks Ghost, a New Balance 940, and then a Brooks Ariel. And I think that'll make your time with this video more enjoyable and more instructional. Okay, so welcome back to our training video series on feet, shoes, and insoles. In this video, we're going to talk about shoe shapes and shoe constructions. And we're going to begin with shoe shapes, and that kind of takes us back to the shape of Fred Flintstone feet and Cinderella feet. So we're going to start with lasts or soles. Same term, means the same thing. So there are athletic lasts, there are straight lasts, and there are semi-straight lasts. This is a athletic last or a curved last. You can see how the sole starts right here, and then it sweeps in immediately and then back out again. As a result of that, they need to bring the upper portion of the shoe to the sole. And so as a result of bringing the upper part of the shoe to the sole here, it makes for a fit of a very nice Cinderella foot. So these are going to be more of your Cinderella foot shoe. This shoe, on the other hand, straight last. You can see that it's basically straight. So again, they're going to bring the upper portion of the shoe to the sole, and as a result, you get kind of a boxy shoe for a boxy foot. This is a straight last Fred Flintstone shoe. Then you have the semi-straight last. So it's not as curved as the curved last, but it's not quite as boxy as the straight last. This shoe actually, well, this is the 840 New Balance. This shoe will go on a Fred Flintstone foot or a Cinderella foot quite nicely, particularly if we use the Nike tie. So let's talk about shoe. The next thing is construction. Let's talk about shoe flexibility or stiffness. For me, the stiffness or flexibility of a shoe, the rigidity of a shoe, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of the most important part of a shoe for me. And that's because stiffness or the density has tremendous influence on how a foot functions in a shoe, particularly if there's any abnormal motion in a foot. So you're going to hear customers come in and they're going to ask you, so tell me what you think about running shoes, walking shoes, motion control shoes. I tell them, I basically ignore those industry terms, and I pay more attention to the flexibility of a shoe. And I break shoes down into three flexibilities. There's your really flexible shoe, and I'll tell them this. There's your really flexible shoe, and I'll be flexing the forefoot and twisting the forefoot as I tell them. So there's the very flexible shoes, and then there's the kind of what I call moderately stiff shoes, and then there are the very, very stiff shoes. This is your New Balance 1540. It's like a board, okay? And I tend to move more toward the semi-stiff and stiff shoes because I like the control or the way that you can influence a foot with these shoes. And you can find this out for yourself. Take an 840, take a 1540, flex them at the forefoot, give them a twist, and you'll find that out for yourself. All these shoes have their benefits, they really do. So let's take a flexible shoe. So a flexible shoe is typically a fairly soft shoe. So if I have someone who's a runner, maybe 20, 30, 40 miles a week, they may want a soft shoe because they want shock absorption. However, a soft shoe is also a pretty flexible shoe. So if we have someone with a really high arch that walks on the outside of their foot, they're going to be able to overpower that shoe, and that may not necessarily be a good thing for them. I might put them in a semi-stiff shoe, and then if they need cushion, if they want some softness, then I'll put a nice soft insole in there for them. Let's say we have someone who stands on cement all day. Let's say like Stuart with the high arch. Now he may stand up in a pair of Brooks Ghosts, and that's going to feel really nice for a week or two. But you saw what he could do to a soft shoe, and so after a week or so, that high arch, the outside of his legs are going to start to hurt again because it lets his foot roll to the outside. So I'd probably put Stuart I'd put in a very stiff shoe, and I'd put the cushion in the shoe so that the stiff shoe resists his foot's proclivity to roll to the outside, and then we keep the cushion on the inside for comfort. So let's move on to neutral and posted shoes. So a neutral shoe, it's basically we're talking about the sole. And a neutral shoe is very simply where the density of the sole is the same around the entire perimeter of the shoe. It's the same density around the entire perimeter of the shoe. It's just as soft or semi-stiff or stiff around the whole shoe. A posted shoe is where the medial side of the shoe is stiffer, and you can find this out. Just dig your thumb, this is a New Balance 940, just dig your thumb into the outside or the lateral side of the shoe, and you can dig your thumb into the sole quite easily. Now try it on the medial side, okay? Very, very stiff. How do you identify this? Okay, you can do it by just simply digging your thumb into the foam. A lot of manufacturers, New Balance is one of them, you can see where with the neutral shoe, the design and the color is the same around the entire perimeter of the shoe. It's the same color, same design. With the posted shoe, they do a little bit of texture change on the foam, and there's also some colorful design there. That lets you know that, yes, this is probably a posted shoe, and you're going to find out when you dig your thumb into it. Brooks does it slightly different. They have what they call their guide rails. So they do a little bit of color, different colors, different texture design, and then they use the term guide rail. And again, you can confirm that simply by digging your thumb into the foam on the outside or the lateral side of the shoe, digging your thumb into the medial side of the shoe. Medial side is going to be stiffer. One of the mistakes I see that I see a lot of people come in, and in fact Stuart was one of them. He was a big time runner, and he used the New Balance 940. Well, what would be the problem of what's going to happen with Stuart's foot if he's in a shoe that is stiffer, immediately posted, stiffer on the inside, and we know he walks on the outside of his foot. This foam is very soft, this foam is very dense. It's going to roll him to the outside even worse. It's going to bounce him to the outside, and that's what he experienced. These shoes caused him a lot of pain. I see that a lot. People with high arches getting a immediately posted shoe. Bobby, on the other hand, the way her foot collapses, immediately supported shoe is going to be very nice because we have stiffer foam underneath the arch support, underneath the arch. So we can begin to see how being familiar with the different shapes of shoes, the different shaped lasts, the different constructions in terms of flexibility, stiffness, flexible shoes, semi-stiff shoes, stiff shoes, and then the neutrality or posting of shoes helps us understand how to influence different feet in a way that gives the customer the most comfortable shoe, the most functional shoe that we possibly can. So this concludes our video on shoe shapes and shoe constructions. We'll see you in the next video.